My name is Mercedes Bristol, and I am the 62-year-old grandma of Lilia. And so my testimony is for the bill. I am a former HHSC employee. I retired 3 years ago. At age 57, I was faced with taking on 5 grandchildren that I wouldn't have done it any different, even without the adoption subsidy now. But I now lead a support group of grandparents raising grandchildren in San Antonio. And I'm here on behalf of a lot of grandparents that are in the system raising grandchildren without any funds. These funds would actually allow children to be able to participate in extracurricular activities, such as, ball games, music, things like that. Grandparents, we have an 83-year-old grandmother in our group that has 7 grandchildren under the age of 10. And so she's 83 years old. I cannot imagine her being able to have these children participate in anything. And she is on retirement. So these funds would actually help these grandparents be able to provide things for their grandchildren that wouldn't be able to provide it without the funds. I also support CPPP about the TANF changes, because even though there's a lot of stipulations and roadblocks on receiving TANF, there is at least something that can be provided for them. The amount is ridiculously low for grandparents to even do anything for their grandchildren. I was one of the fortunate ones that did go through CPS and did foster to adopt. I was very fortunate that one worker told me, go get your foster care license when I had 1 child. I adopted the first one. There was from 2 moms. I adopted the first one first, and she told me, go get your foster care license, since the child was taken out of the hospital and put in a foster care. And it took me 3 months to get that child, and it took me a long time to get my foster care license. The amount of hours is horrendous. 60 hours for a grandmother working and trying to take care of a grandchild was very burdensome, but I did it anyway because I knew I couldn't afford it any other way. Even though, working for HHSC, the salary was very little, and so it was very hard. Then I got 4 more children after that, 10 months later. I had no beds. I had nowhere to put these children. I was 57, ready to retire, working on my retirement, and so now I had 5 children altogether, no beds. I applied for the one-time TANF, and I was denied because my car was paid off. And so that was another blow, So what do? I had a Highlander, was paid for. I couldn't transport all 5 children on the Highlander with 2 car seats and 2 booster seats. The little one was 3 months old, and Lilia was 9 years old at the time. So it's very hard to be able to accommodate. The other thing is that, we have grandparents that are working towards a retirement. Delia Martinez is my colleague that we now advocate for grandparents. And thank you, State Representative Burkett, for this, because we came and met with her and Representative Jane Franks and talked to them about the hardship it is for grandparents who are raising grandchildren without the proper funds for them.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Members, any questions?
Thank you. And I'm going, if I can, switch back to Ms. Bristol. Thank you for being here. We appreciate it so much. I do have a question for you that is about your opinion. It's just opinion. Nobody's going to hold you to it, okay? But you made a statement. You said, I'm working, I've got all these kids, and I've got to take 60 hours of training. So the first question is, was there anything of value in that training?
Yes, there was. I think that the education I got on psychotropic medications was very, very beneficial for me. And I think that's the most powerful thing I took out of there, to be honest.
Okay. Well, that's what I'm asking. I'm asking your opinion. So how many hours, if you could put it in a time, how many hours do you think somebody involved, say, kinship care, or just in the general process, how many hours does somebody need to really be taking? 5, 10, 15?
I think
how long did it take you?
I think a good 5 days would have been enough. I think the brain just can only absorb. I think that I had the 3-month-old at the time, like I said, and they had me take self-defense classes, and I didn't have a babysitter. That's one of my biggest things is respite and babysitting. And so one of the people that were there gave me one of those wraparounds so I could do the self-defense thing. And so I think that was not necessary.
So if you say 5 days, are those 5 8-hour days?
5 8 hours, I don't know.
So
I think
40 hours?
40, maybe even half of the 60 hours I think would be
So
fine.
30.
30 hours would be adequate, in my opinion.
Okay. Maybe even just mornings?
Must prefer.
Thank you very much.
May I add something else?
Yes, go ahead.
Just in case I didn't say this, I don't know, I was nervous, but even though the bill is very beneficial for those that are through CPS or through the agency, I think that those that don't go through the agency should be considered to be receiving some funds, because I think that's a lot of the majority that come through. Parents just drop off the children with their grandparents, and those people are not counted on all the statistics that you all said. And those are the ones that I'm trying to represent at this point, the ones that are not being counted by the state.
Thank you.